Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
This is the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli, and we are recording on the 20th of March in 2025 here, which would make it the first day of spring. I woke up today here in suburban Chicagoland to a winter wonderland, and it looked like the first snow of the year. It was very beautiful and also very demoralizing at the same time. So, it looked like I wanted to put up my Christmas lights, sit by the tree, drink a little eggnog, but instead I just got up and went to work. So excited about that. Grateful for my job, grateful for the weather and all of that. And that's what I'm talking about here today. Is gratitude, and actually the dark side of gratitude, not to be negative, but just maybe can shed some light on when you're being grateful and using gratitude as an excuse. Because believe it or not, just sitting back and being grateful for certain things can also limit you in your growth and escaping situations that might not be ideal for you. I'm not a pro at this, but I know I've done it and I've seen it done. So, just to kind of help people understand, because the minute that they would hear this subject, the dark side of gratitude or toxic gratitude, whatever you want to call it, they're going to right away think I'm just being some sort of negative person. And I'm trying, and then, if you look at it at face value, that I'm trying to take a positive thing like gratitude and turn it negative, because that seems to be what we do here in the world. And I have fallen victim to that, whether it's pessimism that I've, ingrained in myself or whatever it is. But hey, I'll tell you, this actually sounds negative, but going to be positive as far as awareness goes. And perhaps you're realizing that you're using that small percentage of dark gratitude to stay complacent and sitting in a situation that's not ideal for you. So to kind of give you an example of this to start, I'm going to use a few of my own. And then, of course, I've got an article I took off the internet to elaborate. So the dark side of gratitude, it can keep you stuck. So let's use a job first. I think this happens a lot. Sometimes you'll see someone complain about their job. They hate it, but you know what? I'm grateful I have it. I'm grateful I have the income and all of that. And I understand that. And I think that's actually half correct, because it's a better stress to have a job and stress about the job than not have a job and stress because you need income and nothing's coming in. So I actually think, yes, the gratitude is better there. But if you're unhappy, there's to make yourself happy in life, there's way too many ways to go ahead and think about that. Everybody's so different, but in a sense, you're going to go to your job every day, right? And for long hours, almost too long, in my opinion, at this point. But it's the society that we live in. So you're going to go to your job. You hate it daily. You're exposed to these terrible people who are just not treating you like a human being. It's very demoralizing. You almost maybe don't want to wake up every day and get up. It's just a dread. It's a drag. But you're saying grateful because, I got the job. That's okay. But what you should be doing with that gratitude is like, all right, I got this job. But you also take gratitude in the ability that you have and what you've learned and where you've been and all the experience that you've kind of taken on over the years. And you can go and take that and move and go somewhere else. And yes, sometimes you might have to pop around jobs here and there and find the one that's right for you. Find the right niche. Go where you're going to be appreciated. Go where you can, thrive and grow, and go where you're happy. And that's what really matters. And find that. It's out there. I'm over the entire stay loyal to your company forever because of society says so. Oh, look at you. Congratulations. Like, is it really? Like, we always celebrate this longevity, right? So, Bob, for instance, Bob worked at a company for 40 years. Now he's retiring. He started at 25. And he's retiring at 65. And congratulations, Bob. Here's a watch and a slice of pizza. That's what you got. Congrats. And Bob was miserable all those years. He treated his body terribly. He is estranged from his family. He was abused. He has low self-worth and all that. But hey, we celebrate him because he made it. He did that. And he got there and he made it to the end. But what if Bob would have moved around a little bit more, and what if he would have found something where he was respected, where they valued his skills, and he actually ended up making more money and retired 5 years earlier. What if he did that? He could have. It's possible. He never went and tested the waters to do it. So we all just celebrate him for his 40 years. His job's already posted. He's gone. Now he sits in retirement and hopes he can, make it all work for the rest of his life. Okay. Maybe some people do that and they're happy and that's fine, but sometimes they're not. And honestly, it's the gratitude. Maybe Bob just sat there saying, I'm grateful for my job and I'm just going to go ahead and stick with this and keep going. Whatever. I mean, they say nowadays that in order to really get a raise, you have to leave every 3 to 5 years your company to get a good raise. Otherwise, within, they don't give you the raises that keep up with inflation and the cost of living. It's not just, I want more money. It's, I need to keep up with this. Remember, you're at work because you need to pay for things. You need to invest your money for retirement. You need fuck you money to get the hell out one day. That's what we got to do. We got to pay a lot in taxes. We got to pay a lot of bills. Everything's got a little service fee to it. Everyone wants a tip everywhere you go. This costs a lot of money. So you got to look out for yourself. And standing there and not doing anything, you could be losing out on a lot of additional income that's going to help your life later on. It's going to be something you can save for your kids and make a better life for everybody. But you didn't do it because you sat there being grateful for something that you just have that's not going anywhere. So yes, gratitude for the gig, gratitude for the income. But if you're miserable, you cannot be grateful for the way you're being treated and you have to move and go. That is easier said than done, but is so necessary to do, or else you'll get used and abused, and you should know. And don't ignore those signs that tell you it's time to move on. It's time to go. There are signs, and I ignored those many years in many which ways. I ignored the signs. I just said, that's just me being anxious or something. And it's really just your intuition telling you it's time to end something and something needs to go. You've outgrown it. It's run its course, whatever it might be. So listen to those voices. They're telling you some stuff, and just take action. You're going to find out, and I am 100% not preaching to you, because taking action and getting unstuck is difficult for me and for a lot of people, some more than others. And I'm more on the difficult side. I'm more conservative, stay pat, stick where you're at. I've been kind of taught that through my life. It's not terrible information, but in this day and age, I think it doesn't apply as much because just of how our structure of society is, of how everything has gone. So I think that's what the big one is with your job is this. You can be grateful for it. You can simultaneously be grateful for it and try to leave at the same time. That's what I'm saying, is that you need to have that drive that you deserve something better. You and your family deserve something better. You deserve to be treated better, paid better, and you're there to make money. You're not there to make friends or look good. Okay. So that's the same thing I could say for somebody, that went to school and got a degree. In a sense, like you can get a degree and what if, that's the scary thing. I did a whole episode on college. Like, you're 18 years old. You don't know shit right now for what you really want. I mean, for me now versus 18, it might as well, I've been like 3 different people since then. So like to have somebody invest that much money that early on in life on something they want to do can backfire. It can work. Don't get me wrong. There's always going to be something that works. This is not a one-way podcast episode of this is the only way. It's not that way, but there's a lot of times where it is. So you get yourself into this degree, into this, pin yourself into this industry. And then what if you don't like it? What if 3 years go by and it sucks? Now what? Now you got to figure that out, right? So you can be grateful you got the degree, but you also have to understand that you got to have gratitude for the ability to move on and understand that, hey, this didn't work out. And then you got to figure out where you're going to go from there. So, that's another form of gratitude. I think that it will keep you stuck. And it goes on a little more than gratitude, because you did make a big financial investment in that field of study. And now it's not for you any longer, or you didn't think it was what it's going to be, or whatever, or it just, it just keeps you stuck. And then you're stuck because you got the degree. Now you feel like your whole life, you're not only are you paying an exuberant amount of money and interest for the degree, but you're also feeling obligated to it because you paid so much for it. And now you have to stay in that industry, even though it's making you freaking sad. So think about that big time and be okay with letting that go, as hard as that can be as a financial commitment. It sucks. Relationships are another one, right? That's an obvious one. We do the dad's daughter podcast, divorced dads of daughters. We got one more coming up. We're going to close it out with one, make it a trilogy and be done. But relationships are a huge one of complacency. A lot of times people will say, hey, I'm I got a good financial situation here. I'm doing it. My kids are all here. We have a nice home. This is great, but I'm absolutely miserable here. Or maybe they're being abused. Or something like, but I'll just be grateful that I have a good income. I'm living with my kids, but yeah, it's okay that I'm getting the shit beat out of me every night. That's fine. I'm grateful for this. No, that's called very, very dark gratitude, because you're getting abused, whether it's physically, verbally, in some other way, emotionally abused every which way. And it's just not working. Or maybe there's no abuse and you're just not happy in that situation. You're just, feeling this has run its course. This relationship is over with. It happened with me. I've talked about that before on both ends of my marriage. And that's just what it was. And you know what? Moved along. And guess what? While some things may be more difficult, there's a lot of good that came with that on both ends and both sides of things. So, again, that's not always the case, but hey, it sounds like terrible dread and fear, and you stay complacent and stuck. And sometimes that's just where what you got to do. You got to move and go. That's just how we are. We're conditioned to stay. We're afraid to change. And it's very difficult. And some people do it better than others. So that's, another one too, like I've always talked about, the divorce rate going up in the 70s. And that's, I think, because women hit the workforce, they got out and they were able to support themselves. You have to stay self-sufficient through every relationship, all of them. Now it's kind of reversing. I think people are actually staying in miserable relationships due to financial living situations, just because of how much the rent and cost of living and mortgage rates and all of that has inflated. I think that's decreasing the divorce rate. People are sticking together due to that. I really do. It's unfortunate because that's not only putting a financial strain, but an emotional strain on people and giving them some hopelessness, which really sucks. But you know what? You got to do what you got to do. Make the moves, get out and go. Fitness, how does fitness have a dark side of gratitude? I kind of just came up with that. Like, hey, I'm just grateful I can walk and go to the gym. That's fine. That's great to have that gratitude. But if it's not going to keep you, if you're just going to the gym, walking on the treadmill for 30 minutes back, and that's all you're doing, but you have different goals, I mean, you can do more. And having that gratitude that you can walk, that you're going to the gym is wonderful. But if that's keeping you complacent and not progressing in there and not understanding the different health benefits that are available to you through the gym, through nutrition, through other things, you can just kind of sit there and just stay steady and really not do much. Fitness is different. It's a growth. It's a growth aspect of life. You're always doing something different, challenging yourself. There is an end game to fitness, and I was probably going to do a episode on that at some point, I think, and it's just acceptance. Start accepting your body for what it is based on your lifestyle, and just literally, instead of trying so hard, maybe you want to lose an extra 5 or 10 pounds and you think you'll be just perfectly happy. Odds are you won't be, because whatever it is, it's hindering you from losing that weight is something you don't want to give up, which might just be, maybe a few cocktails on the weekend. Maybe it's not going to the gym enough. Maybe it's not tracking your food on the weekends, something like that you just don't want to do. It's not making you happy. If you did it all, you might get to that goal weight and that physique you're looking for, but at what cost? And a lot of times you got to go ahead and keep up that lifestyle and those habits and all that to sustain the results. So you have to stop and say, hey, look, this is who I'm going to be, because I enjoy not tracking my food on the weekends. I like having a few beers on Saturday night. You might have to just look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that this is who I'm going to be. This is the body I need to learn how to love now, because I've figured out the life I want. Like, you figure out the lifestyle you want, then the body you're going to have is going to follow that. That's just the way it is. But you have to be content with the lifestyle, because then you're going to resent the body. You're going to be irritable, and that's it. And maybe some people are okay with whatever it takes. Some aren't. You have to you have to not worry about those people and just look at yourself and say, this is how I want to live. Forget the people on Instagram. Forget the weirdos on TikTok doing all kinds of weird shit. Forget it. Just go ahead and do yourself. And who cares what anybody says? They can have a judgment. If they're competing with you, if some ripped person that's got 4% body fat wants to say something about that and think they're better than you, let them. Who cares? They might be very miserable inside, trying to identify and keep that physique up. So be grateful that you found that and you're not in that position. While somebody, an outsider or some judge or whatever the hell, might look at you guys and say, wow, that guy's in better shape. You're not. Yeah, but guess what? That guy's miserable keeping that physique. But this guy, whose physique may not be as impressive, but still good, is having a better life. Think about what you want to do there. So be grateful for finding that. I know this kind of gets off topic a little bit, but for real, think about that. Just be grateful for how you look now and where you're at, and take that. Even if you are still going to progress, be grateful for where you've gone, what you've come, but don't let that hold you back either. So there's a little bit of a two-way street to that. It's depending on where you're at, because fitness to me is so broad, so wide, and it has so many different paths to take, and where you want to be, why you're doing it. Everyone has their own personal reasons. So, always, I think the best way to go then to kind of sum it all up, all my blurting out of words here, I think the best thing fitness-wise to do as far as gratitude goes to keep it positive is be grateful for all the progress you've made. Never not be grateful for it, always. And always strive to do some more. That's where you can kind of be grateful, but try to move along forward. But if you've reached a point to where you think you're healthy, you're internally, mentally, physically, emotionally healthy, and you're liking your lifestyle, and, instead of chasing a physique goal, maybe just stop there and look at yourself and say, you know what? I did pretty well here. I figured it out, and now I'm grateful for where I'm at. And then you can take it easy, but know what you're doing. A lot of times the dark side of gratitude also will invalidate feelings. I've had this happen to me multiple times throughout my life, and I think it's just somebody's way of trying to make you feel better, but it actually just invalidates you and almost can make you sadder. So an example of this, and I'm not using an actual one, but if I'm down about something, right, something's bugging me, and maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it's still something that bothers me. But then somebody goes again, hey, just think about, Jim next door. He just got diagnosed with cancer, blah, blah, blah. He's sitting there battling cancer, and I'm sitting here, crying about something that happened at work, blah, blah, or bitching about it, Yes, and in certain instances, sure. But I don't think it's a good route to take to use something like that, because look, that kind of a diagnosis is horrendous. It's emotionally terrible. So what I'm saying with that is, you can't always just say, well, all right, at least I don't have cancer. Sure, you can be grateful you don't have cancer, but that doesn't necessarily take away something that's bothering you. So you need to validate your own feelings, because if somebody's telling you that sort of advice, they're invalidating your feelings. And they're just an outsider, and they don't get it. They're just like, well, you don't have this, well, be happy now. Well, okay, fine. I'm grateful for that. And I'm actually sad that Jim next door has cancer, but that's now on top of this shit that I'm already upset about, and that it's not good for me. So, so being grateful because somebody says somebody has it worse is not always the best way to go. It could be eye-opening. It depends on how chronically complaining somebody is, and maybe they need that wake-up call that, hey, you do got it good. I think it's better off to sort of just, instead of take it to somebody else, if you're trying to help someone, I think it's better off to maybe analyze their own life. Hey, you've got this and this and this. Let's count your blessings, they say, right? But, we take that for granted, and that's, I think, the better way to go than comparison to some completely other human being who's going through something very dramatic. So I think that's a way to go on that. As far as the dark side of gratitude, I have a article here. This is actually from CNBC.com. This is back from July 2023. Still applies today. This is written by Renee Anque. I believe I said that right, per usual. Every name on these things usually has difficult pronunciation, or I just suck at it. Anyways, so she says, 3 signs you're practicing toxic gratitude. Number 1, you're getting signs that something isn't working for you anymore, but you keep dismissing your desires. So that's kind of hey, I know what I want to do with myself, with, professionally, let's say you want to be a writer or an author or something like that, but you're sitting there working in customer service somewhere and you hate it. You can tell that that's what you want to pursue. So, you're holding yourself back by just being grateful for your job and not pursuing those desires. I think you could do both. I think there's a little bit of a relief of your misery. I've noticed that too in like previous jobs where if I felt like I was working on myself on the side, whether that be on a break or off work or whenever I can, I feel like that gives you that like light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. Like, oh, hey, there's another path of hope. So, never quit working on yourself in many different ways. Have your own personal desires. Don't let your job ever tell you which way to go. Don't let them. I'm sorry. Don't let anybody do that. You are the one in control of that, of whether, if you want to get in the gym and get fit, someone's going to try to talk you out of it. If you want to go be a writer, someone's going to talk you out of it. If you want to be an actor, if you want to do something, if you want to try to do something, be a musician, whatever it is, someone's going to talk you out of it. Now, so many people will talk you into a very boring 9-to-5, safe, just cookie cutter gig. And sometimes that's needed. Sometimes that's what we got to do. But to sit in it for 40 years and look back at your life at 65 and be like, fuck, what have I done? That was it. That's going to be it. Like, there's no redo. There's no like, let's go back to 22 and figure it out again. It's not going to happen. No, not going to happen. So now is the time to do that. And it's never been harder based on how our economy is right now. And at least in the United States, that I can speak on, it's tough. So, and nothing's been more expensive than I can ever remember or see. So anyways, that's that. Just, you got to keep your eye on it and keep doing it as difficult as it feels. Number 2, the gratitude that you're expressing is invalidating your feelings. That's true. That's self-invalidating. I just talked about that from my list of an external person invalidating your feelings by giving you an example of someone who's got it worse. Guess what? There's going to be people that have it worse than you all the time. Going to be people that perceive you to have it better, but another person might see it different. It's the perceptions are everywhere. And most people want to see you safe rather than happy, I think. I think a lot of parents do this, especially the boomer generation. I think they mean well. I really do. I really do think they mean well. I just don't think they lived in a time where we thought like this. I think things have changed a bit. So, you're invalidating feelings by, giving the advice to someone who's not happy with what they're doing. Just stay where you are and do what you're doing. Keep it going because it's paying your bills and all of that. While that is good advice in a sense, it's also bad advice. And the dark side of it is keeping yourself complacent and miserable. That's it. Or maybe, find a way to find happiness through what you're doing. If you can't leave it, find ways to make yourself happy. Set break times where you work for 10 minutes on something that you really like, or read something you really like, or look forward to something throughout the day to just kind of break that up. But that's, the invalidating of your feelings, doing it to yourself. You can do it as well. Number 3 is you're using gratitude as an excuse to stay in a situation that isn't serving you. This is likely due to fear that you may not be able to achieve better, she says. So that's really it. Yeah, it's called not giving yourself enough credit. You probably can do a lot better than you believe. Just about having confidence. And even if you got to fake it a little bit, I struggle with that. But trying to do it. So kind of talked about that too. So here's she gives also some internal thoughts that you might have. This is about work. Let's see, hold on, maybe not. Let me read it right. Some internal thoughts about work that are examples of toxic gratitude. So this one again goes to work. I'm getting paid. A lot of people are out of work right now, so I should just really be happy and grateful that I have a job. Again, yes, true. I've seen people using this excuse since 2008, 2009, when we had that recession, that housing crisis and all that time when the market got really hit. And I've seen people using that they were told back then, which may have been more true, that just be grateful you have a job in this, maybe back in the Great Depression, they felt that way. Those are extreme times. Those are temporary times. So, if you're getting paid, yes, which you need to do. But if you're miserable, like we've talked about ad nauseum now, it keeps coming up. This is a big one. Grateful you have the job, but grateful you have the ability to move out. The next one is, I don't want to be greedy. I don't need to negotiate for more money at work. I think this one really sucks. And there's been a weirdness around pay with work. And I was just talking to somebody the other day about how it was taboo to talk about pay when you're going to work for a job. Like, I'm sorry, that should be number one. There was this time period, and I think it's softened a little bit now, but like there was this when I was really younger, when I was like in my early 20s and really just, checking out the job market, going on a lot of interviews and doing things. It was always like taboo to ask about pay. It was like, oh, you want to know how much this pays? How dare you ask? Well, yeah, I want to know how much this pays because this is the reason I'm fucking here. Like, I get we have passions and work we want to do. We've been kind of conditioned to do that, and that's fine because you can find some gratitude within your job and some fulfillment. But at the same time, I need to know that I'm not going to be financially squeezed in reality because of this job. So I need to know what this is going to pay if it covers my expenses. And then we can save those next 3 interviews you want me to go on and take 3 days off from my current job, all to find out that this junk job pays 30 grand a year and you guys are terrible. So, you know what I'm saying? So, you don't sell yourself very short. Be a little greedy, ask for more money, give a reason why though. Don't just say, I want more money because. Just say, hey, I've done this. Come up with a list. If you're going to go ask your supervisor or boss or whoever it is, however your company works, if you're going to do that, come up with a list of what you do there and show your value because that's important. Otherwise, it's bitching, in my opinion. I want more money. Yeah, everyone wants more money. Everyone wants more money. Everyone. Even people that make 7 figures a year, they want more. So it's all right to be a little greedy and negotiate a bit. A lot of people aren't doing it. There's a lot of money still filtering up to the top of the corporations because people are too afraid to ask for their worth. And, in their defense, I probably can guess that there are some supervisors, people in finance, HR, and things that have shit on people for asking that and has instilled some fear in them to do it again in the future. Who cares? Always ask. Let them be mad. What are they going to do? Fire you? No, you just asked a question. But you never know if you don't try. Then then that's another reason to start looking outside of your current job because this one just laughed at you because you wanted a 2 to 3% raise or something like that. When you can leave and get a 5 to 7% raise somewhere else and just have to go through the little bit of a stress of starting a new job, which is never fun. But hey, it's all a means to an end, right? So then the other one is I should just be grateful that I get to work from home now. So then I don't need to ask for these other things that I need. Well, yes, I will admit that working from home is a phenomenal, if you can do it, a phenomenal perk. It's amazing to nix the entire commute, the amount of time, money saved, less laundry to do. You just, you close your laptop when it's time. You can go easier for like a walk or get a workout in at lunch. You can make your own food at home in your kitchen. I don't understand why anybody would not want to do that if the job is capable of having that happen. The reason why it's not happening is probably a combination, and the reason why people are wanting companies, some want their employees back in the office is for control and fear by micromanagers. They want to assure everybody's doing all kinds of things obviously we can just kind of monitor results virtually at this point. So I don't know about that one, but I know that also commercial property owners are sort of getting nervous because if a company doesn't need its employees to be on site, why would they spend money and rent or a lease on an office? They can just boop, gone. When you think about how crazy that could get. If you look at our skylines, look at a city skyline. What percentage of those buildings are offices? A lot. So, some might be condos or apartments, but a lot of that is office space. But what happened? Those buildings were built before the internet, most of them, the vast majority of them, before we were able to work this way. We've automated a lot. I think the 40-hour work week is a thing of the past. I think we need everything so fast and so quick now, and life moves at a different pace than it used to. You've got in a household, both parents almost have to be working in many cases, whereas before somebody stayed home and took care of all that while one person went out and worked. Seemed like you were able to get more of a simpler gig and be able to still afford a home, other expenses, save for retirement, and just kind of go. But it seems like things financially have shifted a little bit. And I just think that now cutting out that commute time and things like that, being able to pick up your kids at certain points and have less stress like that, and daycare, after school, before school for kids, you might be able to ditch that and save a whole bunch of money, because that's expensive. Outsourcing your kids to some person making $14 an hour. I'll never, ever understand how we got to that. That's because we care more about money than we do humans. And that's just what it is. And there's no one's going to fix that. There's no one in the political party of any country anywhere that's going to implement something like that. They don't want to make the world better for you. It's just not the way it is. So, all right. And then in romantic relationships, she says, your mind can even play more tricks on you. Toxic gratitude in your personal life can look like, well, I really should just stay. Nobody's perfect. So you're just dismissing someone's bad behavior that's treating you poorly. And you just, give them that benefit of the doubt. You're not respecting yourself. And the other one is, maybe this person forgot my birthday or doesn't make me coffee for me in the morning. But it's better than being alone. It's better than nothing. So you're really just like staying complacent with something. Maybe somebody doesn't care to that extent. And you just kind of sit in it. And then to close this thing up, because wow, I talk a lot. But anyways, to close this thing up here, she says how to overcome toxic gratitude. So here are some ways that you can overcome toxic gratitude and honor your feelings. Treat your emotions like a GPS and follow what feels good. Aim to go after the things that will benefit you long term. Follow what feels good in your thoughts, but also in your current reality, she notes. So there you go. Treat your emotions like a GPS and just kind of follow what feels good and just roll with it. We try to plan a lot, right? We want to plan, and I've come to the realization that expectations are a big problem sometimes, whether they're realistic or not. I just think to have no expectations and treat this as an experience, not like a forced plan, because if it doesn't go right, that's where the frustration comes in. So I think that's a big thing to kind of do. Visualize a better outcome, which contradicts what I just said, I think. So allow yourself to have daydreams of having a wonderful job or a supportive partner to wrap their arms around you at the end of the day and share a meal with. So just visualize what you want. And then when you visualize it, you find a way to go ahead and achieve it. So number 3 would be to be honest with yourself about what your gut is telling you and trust it. If you're unsure, track your happy days and unhappy days as it relates to what you've been having doubts about to see if the good outweighs the bad. That's an interesting way to look at it. So just kind of analyze your life. Number 4 is set a date for when you'll walk away from what isn't serving you. That's really important, I think, because it gives you sort of some direction in your life. Once they have set that date in mind, this is the day magic happens, she says. All of a sudden, people feel like they have freedom, like they have the key to a cage that they're in. And they've decided, I'm going to let myself out of this cage in 6 months. What a cool way to go. Like just do it. Like, I need this advice too. I'm not telling you this. I just read that for the first time right now. So I think that's wonderful. I think I should do that myself. I think I should start setting this time frame of, hey, this is the day where I'm going to begin moving this along. This is the day where I'm going to begin doing this. Obviously, you have to the hard part is you have to just make sure that you're not going to make something worse for you. But again, that's me talking myself out of what they're saying here. So just keep following what's going on and make adjustments as it goes. Like maybe you're in a job, you're paying your bills, but you want to do something else really bad. You do it, you make the leap, you do it, you're in it, you're loving life, but you're falling short financially. But guess what? Right now, yeah, maybe you're falling a little short financially where you like to be for your bills, your savings, but you already have established that, hey, I just flipped over my life. I'm happy every day. Now let's just figure out how I can obtain maybe a little extra cash in some other fashion or do something within this new industry that I can now make it meet. That's just a process, right, of like getting there. Okay, so number 5 then is develop a plan to take action. Set yourself up for success when you exit. If you're leaving a job, this can look like personal branding and working your network before quitting, she says. Look like personal branding and working your network before quitting. I don't know, that kind of says it weird, but hey, whatever. So there you go. You're never trapped. The door, she says, you're never trapped. The door of a cage has never been locked. You can leave at any time, and you can do whatever you want. There's going to be consequences, of course, but at the same time, if you look at that toxic, you're thankful for all those things that you're not good with, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, some other point in your life, something else that's holding you back. Just think about that when you're talking yourself out of growth and happiness through that form of gratitude. It's almost just like, okay, shut up. You're being negative. Be positive in this. It's like sometimes it doesn't work, But anyways, overall, gratitude is something that I don't think we even have enough of in general. So just starting to like be more grateful, which is something I've been doing, is a win. And then once you started doing that, being more positive about things, and changing your mindset, maybe that gratitude will take your current situation and help you in it, and you just stay in it, but your mindset has flipped, and now you're happier in it, and that's just what you needed. In some cases, it might not. In some cases, it really is that shitty, and you need to go ahead and nix the complacency, and boom, go about doing some other shit. You can also do two things at once. You don't have to just quit the job. You can work towards the other one. And that's going to maybe give you that little bit, like I talked about before, that light at the end of the tunnel feel of like, all right, I got something else going here, but we'll ride this out, and then we'll switch it off in that time frame that the article said to do, and set that as realistic as possible. So I'm going to do that myself. But hey, you know what? Whatever. If you have anything on gratitude, whether it be the dark side of it, the great side of it, whatever it is, and you want to talk about it, you can message me. I am on social media still. I'm on X. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And that's probably going to be all of them forever, at MFS Wellness. You can email me, mike@mfswellness.com. I am definitely doing nutrition coaching still, and going to be doing some personal training here down the road. That's kind of like my path that I really want to start getting more into. And I need to set my dates for that, to take that leap when the time comes, whether I do that virtually or on site. But I'm looking forward to it at some point in my life. It's something I want to do that helps individuals, whether it's in a group or one-on-one setting. This feels like something that will be fulfilling, and a way to kind of like ride out into the sunset in the whole workforce thing, and maybe never retire from it. Because I just kind of like, that'd be kind of cool. Get a job where you never feel like you have to retire, where you just can do it, and you do it at your own will, your own pace, and you get it done. So, retirement might end up being part-time work at some point for us, the way things are going. So find what you like. Even better reason to, right? Find something you think you're going to like to do that can make a little bit of money, because, that Social Security, those 401ks and IRAs and all that are wonderful and needed and understood. But with the way we've seen our inflation and cost of living and interest rates, there might be a long way to retire, and the age is just there. So it is what it is. Different benefits come in with age, but your savings and your income dictates a lot. So anyways, that's a whole big spiel on the dark side of gratitude. But I will say, what I am grateful for is anyone who listens to this show. I really am grateful for you all. And I don't think there's much dark side of it. I could say, hey, I want more listeners, right? But, I'm happy with the way this is. Again, that's kind of just that gratitude of, hey, everybody, thank you for whoever listens. I like doing it. Wherever it goes, it goes. Sometimes that's just the way it is. Just be happy in your process and what you're doing. So stick with that. Find what's keeping you elevated, keeping your mood up, not taking away your internal peace, and just roll that way, live with it, follow that feel, and take it the whole way, and never stop. Thank you.